This is Ken Pyle at the Broadband Community Summit, the 2013 Summit with Mayor Joe Reardon of Kansas City, Missouri, right? Kansas City, Kansas. I apologize.
No, that's all right.
You were just on stage with the Kansas City, Missouri mayor,
Right.
and I was very impressed with the way you two collaborate and work together. And of course, the reason you're here is because of the fiber initiative. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that from your perspective?
Well, I mean, really, if you know Kansas City, and many of the folks might not, we have a state line that divides the city, and it sort of has been a point where it's been difficult to sort of bridge that divide. And Sly and I, early on in our relationship, decided it was very important to really try to bridge that divide and think regionally. And the Google Fiber project gave us this amazing platform to say that this kind of an installation is larger than a single city. It is about a region. It's about all of our citizens, regardless of which side of the state line. And it really formed a collaboration that's been absolutely amazing and a level of engagement that really hasn't happened before in Kansas City.
Well, and it's interesting because and that's what Milo Medin just talked about, the whole idea of communities need to, regardless if Google's going to come in or not, they need to take the destiny into their hand, their broadband destiny into their own hands.
There's no doubt. When 1,100 cities applied to have Google come in and be their partner, clearly cities understand that this kind of infrastructure is important to their future. We can't sit around and wait for the federal government. They're just, they're probably not going to be there. I wish they would be. If you look at the interstate highway system and some of the other massive infrastructure programs that are out there that we benefit from every day, the federal government played a key role in that. We just can't expect them to be in that place now. So the time is now for cities to take their destiny into their own hand. It's too important of an infrastructure to sit back and wait for somebody else to do it. And I think there's all kinds of different variations. Ours was to find a private partner that wanted to come in and do it, but I think there's all kinds of different approaches. But you just need to start thinking through what's important and critical and start taking steps.
Well, and the interesting thing is, it's not like you're pouring lots of money into it per se, but you are removing barriers, it seems like.
That's right. So every city has valuable assets. So it's not about writing a check necessarily, but we own access to the right-of-way. We own poles in Kansas City, Kansas. We own conduit in Kansas City, Kansas. And we own the permitting process as well. And if you can streamline all those and offer access in a quick way to the assets the city has, then you really can form a partnership with someone that becomes fairly robust. And that's what we found in Google, a partner that wanted to move very quickly with installation and to remove a lot of barriers. And those are the kinds of things that a city can do.
And what's interesting is, you are taking a regional approach, but at the same time, the way it's being built out is on a really neighborhood by neighborhood basis.
Right. So we didn't know beforehand that there would be this sort of contest that went on about interest in neighborhood to neighborhood. But what really happened there was it became a grassroots movement. Neighborhood leaders, people getting together, making sure their block got turned on, making sure their fiberhood got turned on, as Google calls it. And so it turned into something that was really right down at the ground level. And I think it was a pretty genius idea. We had a lot of engagement across our community. When you put a contest in front of good people, they react, and it actually turned out to be kind of fun.
Well, we talked to Aaron yesterday, the KC Digital Drive effort, and it seems like another thing too is you're trying to make this as inclusive as possible, get the citizens from all parts of your communities involved in this.
Right. Well, unlike traditional economic development for cities, a lot of times when you think about economic development as mayors, you're trying to attract that new business. And if they come to your city, it's at the expense of some other city. This kind of economic development is very different. The whole idea is to get more and more people involved and signed up and doing these things. And quite frankly, for it to be ultimately successful at gigabit speeds, it can't just be one city. It can't even be just two. It needs to be multiple cities, because that's really when the benefit of this connectivity can be realized. And so it sort of changes mindsets around what economic development is, and it asks your citizens to become real partners in it, to actually be a part of the deal.
And it's really creating kind of this ecosystem that the platform creates this ecosystem, right?
No, that's right. And so really the platform then becomes this opportunity for innovation, for creativity, for connectivity that maybe had not been there before. And we don't know where all those things will lead. And that's what's kind of fun. So you have a lot of folks that instinctively move to creativity and imagination around possibilities. And you have other folks that can't quite exactly see what that might be. But what we found in Kansas City was folks were just excited. They knew that this was something important to the future. And even though they might not exactly realize what it might bring, they knew the potential was very strong. And so that ecosystem sort of feeds on itself over time.
Well, and I think Milo said this, but it really is a bipartisan thing, right? I mean, it's something everyone can agree on, right?
That's exactly right. This is the kind of fundamental thing that cities do great every day, which is infrastructure, knowing what it takes to improve quality of life. And if you look at gigabit speeds and fiber to the home kind of infrastructure, it's just those kinds of things. I think it's essential infrastructure for the future. And it can and it will improve quality of life. That's what cities do great. Get rid of the party politics that doesn't exist here. It's about delivering that kind of thing to your citizens. And that's what makes it exciting and why people can get energized about it. You can put away all that other nonsense and let's get to work.
Right. Well, great. Well, that's look forward to hearing updates from you and from others. And congratulations on what you guys have done.
You bet. It's nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Yep.